The Raiders have officially made their move, and it's a bold one. Pete Carroll confirmed what many suspected, but few were sure of. Veteran lineman Stone Forsythe is stepping in as the starting left tackle. The news dropped with Carroll's usual calm conviction, and though his tone carried confidence, there was something else behind it. A quiet sense of urgency, and there's a reason for that caution. Carroll knows better than anyone what it means to trust a line that isn't fully settled. He drafted Forsythe back in Seattle and used him as a swing tackle, the reliable backup who could quietly fill in wherever needed. He wasn't flashy, but he was steady. And right now, that's exactly what the Raiders need. Losing Kolton Miller is massive. Miller isn't just a blocker. He's an anchor. He's the kind of left tackle who changes the geometry of a defense, who forces edge rushers to think twice. Without him, the entire line shifts, both literally and psychologically. Forsythe steps into a position that demands perfection, but perfection isn't the expectation. Survival is. A lot of fans have been skeptical, and you can't blame them. Social media clips of Forsythe getting beat in practice or losing a few reps in preseason have been circulating everywhere, with people calling him a liability. But that's not the full story. He's not an all-pro, no one's pretending he is, but he's also not a disaster. He's better than some think, more technically sound than Thayer Munford, more consistent than DJ Glaze. The truth is, if the Raiders play this right schematically, they can absolutely make it work. Because football isn't just about talent, it's about protection, strategy, and adaptation. Look at what the Bears did against the Raiders a few weeks back. Their right tackle was out, their left tackle was benched after 2 drives, and they ended up with 2 backups starting at the most important spots on the line. But you barely noticed. Why? Because they schemed intelligently. Tight ends chipped, running backs chipped, and the offensive coordinator never left the rookies isolated. They adapted to survive. That's exactly what Carroll and Chip Kelly need to do now. Help Forsythe with motion, misdirection, and quick passes. Don't hang him out to dry. The real difference, though, is going to show up in the run game. You can cover up weaknesses in pass protection. You can slide protection, add blockers, get the ball out fast. But in the run game, it's man versus man. Either you move your guy or you don't. And the Raiders' best runs this year? They've all come behind Kolton Miller. He opened lanes that made average runs look explosive. Without him, the push on that left side won't be the same. Forsythe isn't that kind of mauler. He can hold his ground, but he doesn't create chaos. Against a front like Indianapolis, with DeForest Buckner, Grover Stewart, and Kwity Paye collapsing gaps, that loss of raw power will be felt. The Raiders might still find a few chunk runs here and there, but sustaining a ground attack without Miller's dominance will be a different story. Still, Carroll didn't stop at Forsythe. He also took time to praise Charles Grant, the rookie waiting in the wings. Grant, at 6'6" and raw as they come, is dripping with potential. He's long, athletic, and mean, the kind of physical specimen that gets offensive line coaches drooling. He reminds some people of Olu Fashanu, at least from a physical standpoint. The problem? He hasn't faced elite college competition, so his technique isn't battle-tested yet. But Carroll's words about Grant, if he has to go, he'll go, say a lot. This isn't just an emergency plan. It's a warning. If Forsythe struggles, Carroll won't hesitate to pull the trigger. And honestly, that's the right mindset. Don't let pride or experience cost you winnable games. If it takes rotating tackles mid-game to find stability, do it. Flexibility is survival in this league. Meanwhile, the Raiders' front office made their own moves. With Kolton Miller officially on injured reserve, they promoted tight end Carter Renan to the active roster and signed veteran tackle Leroy Watson to the practice squad. Watson's a journeyman, not a star, but someone who's seen real action. Last year with Tennessee, he started 4 games, gave up a single sack and 1 quarterback hit, and allowed 7 pressures across 191 snaps. Those aren't perfect numbers, but they're workable. What stands out is that the Raiders went with experience over familiarity. They had options, even some guys who'd been with them in camp, but they chose Watson. That's a calculated move. It says they want someone who's been in the trenches, someone who's felt real NFL speed, rather than a young project still learning the rhythm. Then there's Ashton Jeanty, the breakout weapon who's suddenly become a highlight reel waiting to happen. In the last game, he switched back to his original running stance, the one fans now call the Michael Myers stance because of how eerie and deliberate it looks, and instantly turned into a nightmare for defenders. Before the switch, he was averaging under 50 yards a game. After, He exploded for 155 total yards and 3 touchdowns, including a 60-yard run that silenced everyone. 2 of those scores came through the air, but it was his balance and vision on the ground that stood out. He looked confident, explosive, and patient. Genty said afterward that he simply feels more comfortable that way. Some took that as a subtle jab at Chip Kelly, who had previously asked him to adjust his stance to stay lower. Whether or not that tension is real, one thing is, Genty's numbers don't lie. He's leading the league in runs of 10 or more yards. That kind of production changes games. Still, context matters. The Bears' defensive line, big and slow, was built for Genty to exploit. The Colts, on the other hand, are faster, more disciplined, and built to seal edges. Buckner, Pay, and Stewart are not the kind of guys you bounce runs outside against. Genty's gonna have to earn every yard this time. If he keeps it up against a defense like this, then it's not just a hot streak. It's a statement. On defense, the Raiders finally made a subtle adjustment that's been long overdue. They didn't completely fix their issues, but they did tweak the scheme. One of the biggest frustrations early in the season was how much base defense they were running. Keeping too many linebackers on the field, getting stuck in mismatches, and letting quicker offenses dictate tempo. That hasn't fully changed. Against the Bears, they still played 46 snaps in base and just 13 in nickel, which is too predictable. But what did change was their safety look. For the first time this season, they leaned into 2 high shells instead of their usual single high formations. That shift paid off immediately. The Bears didn't hit a single back-breaking deep ball. Sure, they had a couple of mid-range completions, but nothing that flipped the field. That's what 2-deep coverage does. It forces offenses to earn every yard. It keeps you in control. And for a defense that's been gashed by explosives all year, that's a step in the right direction. So here's where the Raiders stand heading into their next challenge. They're battered, yes. They've lost one of their most important players in Colton Miller. But they've got a plan, a coach who believes in adaptability, and a locker room that's starting to buy into the idea of playing as a unit rather than waiting for someone else to save them. Forsythe doesn't have to be great, he just has to be solid. Genty doesn't have to score 3 times, he just has to stay consistent. The defense doesn't have to dominate, it just has to bend, not break. This team doesn't need miracles. It needs discipline, patience, and trust. The next few weeks will reveal whether Pete Carroll's steady hand can hold this ship together. Because the truth is, this season is hanging in the balance, and it might come down to how well this offensive line holds its ground. Now, Raider Nation, it's your turn. Do you trust Carroll's decision to start Stone Forsythe? Or should Charles Grant be getting his shot sooner rather than later? And what do you make of Ashton Genty's breakout? Is it the stance, or is it something deeper? Drop your thoughts down below and let's talk football. And if you love in-depth breakdowns and real, unfiltered Raiders analysis, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because here at NFL Playbook Raiders, we don't just watch the game. We break it down, one play at a time,